hey, would you have gotten into Macalester? Like, to me. And I'm like,
That's such a tennis team thing to say. Welcome back to another podcast episode with Chase Johnson, back with D Youngs as well. Chase, we had previously chatted before you got the Macalester gig. I think I coined the podcast name like you're in your contract year.
yep.
And we fast forward probably like a year and a half, maybe a little bit over that, but we've 2 seasons in now. And yeah, anyways, how is the first you got the renewal, but how is the second year?
It was good. It's way easier to go through things the second time, which was the spring season was the second time for me. It was interesting being a head coach for the fall season. So that was kind of new, especially that was new for, teams tend to play a little bit more matches in the fall now. Especially I know like Concordia and you guys we're playing Carleton and like other schools in the MIAC play in the fall. So that it's kind of weird for me setting up a schedule. I also set up the schedule not knowing if I'd be coaching or not. So that's always kind of interesting, but that was new for me and what the fall season at Macalester looks like. I only know what it looks like at Gustavus, and they kind of have their own way of doing things there that's different than the other schools in the MIAC. So it's not much to draw on, but it was good. It was way better going through things the second time in the spring, and just knowing the players, like they know me, I know them. It was a lot more smooth. Still, learning a lot and learning what Macalester students expect and want. I'm more of a kind of a type B personality, and a lot of my my women's players were more type A and wanted some information quicker than I was ready to give it to them. So that was the funny part that I got to go through this spring. But it was a blast overall. It's fun. A little less pressure with now that got the contract and on and forward. So it was a lot more relaxed and more enjoyment this time around than just like madness and chaos that it felt like last spring.
Yeah, well, that's great stuff, Chase. And obviously, as podcast hosts, we have to stay completely neutral whatsoever. We're cheering for you. And it was great to see you both on the men's and women's side competitive season. Talk about Macalester athletics a little bit. It seems like it's an exciting time for the Scots baseball team just won the conference, and in tennis. I mean, the men's program has always been right in there for a playoff contender, but it was cool to see you brought the women's team to the playoffs for the first time. And how many years was that?
They've been in it. They were in it. It was just a 1-year hiatus for them. It was just the intern coach. Interim coach must have messed up their rhythm and didn't make it last year, and then they were back. So now my seniors, they made it their first 2 years, 1 year off, and then back at it this spring.
That's excellent.
And like, what's the biggest difference between like your first year of coaching and your second year? Because both years you're coaching both the men and the women, correct?
Yeah. I think. I mean, almost the biggest thing was like almost understanding the facilities and the schedule and how that works at Macalester. Because that's Gustavus. We were so lucky to have just a bubble. So you're either inside or outside. Even come April, if it's like 37 degrees outside, it's like, well, we're just practicing inside today. Okay. Where Macalester, if it's 37 or it's raining or snowing, whatever, you gotta like know what to do, kind of knowing like what's within budget too. Like, can I just go over to baseline whenever I want? Like, is that fine for practice, or do I have to use the indoor courts that we have on campus that are just a little bit more slick and not ones that are awesome for like, hey, right before a match, we want to, the day before a match, we want to use them. So I think figuring out the schedule and the facilities that we're allowed to go to. You know, we went over to Fredwell's on Monday nights and Baseline on Fridays before matches usually. So we had a good schedule, and I just knew a little bit more so how to maybe handle some practices at the different facilities, what I wanted once we were at Fredwell's and Baseline versus our indoor courts.
Not trying to get derailed on this conversation, but it's kind of fresh on my brain. And when you bring up the Baseline, I immediately think Gopher men's tennis, formerly Cut. What are your thoughts on all these programs like right now that have been cut? Because it was who all got cut.
Well, Arkansas brought theirs back to, as of today, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was big news.
Some big donor just like, no, we're not.
Probably. But Illinois State, University of North Dakota was the big one in this region. I know that there was an HBCU that announced it's going to be their last season, and then St. Louis.
Yeah.
And then you said UND, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just sucks. Like, for anyone in the tennis community, like, I think we all played college tennis too, and you don't get as much, like, you know, the basketball and football teams still get a lot of stuff. Even a Division III level, they get fans and stuff. Even some soccer, you know, get a lot of fans going. You just sometimes tennis is just can be bottom of the totem pole a little bit, and that's just what I think. Also, if one university is like, we're cutting tennis, it's a little bit easier for the second and third one and fourth one to join them, so it can snowball a little bit. I mean, but it's just sad. You feel for the coaches, the players. Like, you know, you guys played college tennis together. Look at you guys now. You're still great friends doing this podcast. Like, you get great connections besides just hitting the tennis balls. Like, it's like your best friends maybe that you're on the team with. And so if your program just got cut, like, you're just gonna leave your best friends, go to another place. You guys are gonna scatter all over the place. Like, for the players, it's really a bummer. And, you know, you might have made that place home for 1, 2, 3 years. And then you gotta, if you want to play tennis, you gotta go somewhere else for the last year or two. So it kind of throws their life out. So it sucks for everyone.
Maybe a random thought. What, in the conspiracy theory world of tennis, what if Arkansas State, because it was Arkansas State, right?
University of Arkansas.
University of Arkansas. They cut their tennis program, knowing that other people will follow them in their footsteps. So they cut it, eliminate like 4 schools who they now no longer have to compete with, and then bring it back. literally taking teams off the globe. Probably
more players for them. That would be, there's not really many conspiracy theories within tennis, so I'm happy to like try and get one going. Just bring some conversation to tennis that's not cutting programs, but just some conspiracy theories. I think that's good.
I think it's so interesting though with Arkansas. I mean, yeah, you look at the amount of money that they spent compared to these other programs, doesn't help the case. I mean, however, they're an SEC school. You know, the SEC prides itself as like the premier. It's the standard as far as conferences, any sport, every sport, basically. And so I think that the tennis program and its donors, booster club, etc., had that really as something that helped them make this charge to get the program back, because it's in all reality, like, the Big Ten was huge for tennis, of course, but the SEC is just even if Big Ten teams are better, there's still an aura around the SEC that like it's the best.
Isn't UCLA and those California teams now in the Big Ten?
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you say like UCLA, USC are more premier tennis schools than SEC schools?
I would say like yes, but holistically as a conference, I think that just when you look at the SEC for all sports, tennis included, some of the venues like at Georgia, now at USC and UCLA, you could make the comparison, but some of those down in the Southeast, it's incredible. Chase, I'd be interested for your thoughts here.
Yeah, I mean, I think like aura is almost a good word. Maybe you said it, David, but like it just seems like, their whole slogan, I think, is like it means more, is like something
Yeah.
like that. Like it's just even in football, like the Big Ten kind of took over men's and women's basketball and football, and you still have the people on ESPN that are like, no, the seventh best SEC team should have been in the football playoffs, and it's like,
It's
nah, man, like.
It's similar to the baseball fan who doesn't really know much about baseball, but if somebody on the street asks them, "Hey, who's one of the best teams out there?" and they say the Yankees are the best. When in all reality, the Yankees haven't won a World Series in 15 plus years.
Mhm.
It's the aura.
Yeah. Yeah. I do think for tennis, yeah, US
Is he cutting out for you too?
Yeah. Yep, I lost him.
but
I'm not,
I almost think, shoot, you got me?
yeah,
Yeah.
you're back now.
Okay. All right. But for tennis, they're good teams and good programs, but like now Rutgers and Penn State have to travel to California to play. Like that's like, hey, like that just increased the tennis budget a lot. That's where it's like, oh, tennis budget's too high now. Like that's where it could hurt some individual teams if they're like, yeah, dude, we're not going to send you all the way out there and send you out west twice, like to Washington and Oregon too. Like it could sort of hurt maybe in that way. We'll see, but I hope not. But I don't know. I'm worried about the like women's team at the U of M because I don't know, like they already cut the men's team, like probably more likely to cut another team there too. Like
and let's just open that wound up real quick because I think that there's a lot of people that are still salty if it gets brought up in this region. But if you recall with that program, and if you go back and read news articles, they had the money to fund the program another 4 to 5 years. The boosters did, but a certain AD whose name starts with M and ends with Arc Coyle said no, and so I got to watch my mouth. But it's frustrating, and I do think when you look at tennis is never going to be a revenue generator. Like you said, Chase, with longer road trips and just hotels are going to get more and more expensive. Gas is expensive. Jerseys are expensive. Whoever the president of the United States is, inflation is still a thing. And the reality is, Andy Roddick talked about on his Serve podcast, do you create a salary cap essentially for non-revenue generating sports? I think that could be a short-term solution, but the reality is, like, you have to play conference matchups. And like you said, Chase, like Rutgers, Penn State, going out to a West Coast school, like it's going to be on the schedule. You can't just have them not play.
Yeah. Yeah, it's even being in coaching. Like I still don't understand everything that goes into all that stuff. I do feel as like Division III coach, like every once in a while I get, or like a couple people recently been like, what are your thoughts? Are you nervous? And at least I think Division III right now is hanging on. Like, those are some of the bigger programs in St. Louis, North Dakota, Arkansas for a week or two or whatever. Like those are Division I programs. So at least Division III is hanging on. Our budget's probably nothing compared to, it's probably like 10 of our years for maybe one of their budgets or something, like who knows, but like at least Division III is holding on, which I feel good about, and feel good about the MIAC conference that will keep our teams at least. That one would be shocking if it's somebody you actually know, or coach that we played against. It would be, that would, I think, shock my system a lot more than just Arkansas, or even North Dakota is pretty close to home too, but it within the conference would be like, oh my God, like I got to talk to my AD here and make sure we're all right or something.
I feel like D1, the budget is so much more that you're looking at like dollars coming into tennis specifically, and you probably never see it. Although I do think, if you're playing Division I tennis, you've grinded at something for a super long time. So from my perspective, you got 6, 7, 8 guys who are potentially going to make a ton of money. But I feel like D3, the reason why you would never cut it, it's like, all right, one of those guys, let's say you have a program and you can, scoot by, for 15, 20 years. You don't think you can get like one or two who are just like super, super successful that will give back. You know, you just don't know who's gonna. Maybe I'm overhyping tennis in the intelligence in tennis, but from my perspective, like if you look at like previous Concordia guys, you have some smart dudes in there, like that. If you like ask for some money, they might not be just like forth willing to give, but I feel like if you're trying to keep a program alive, you know, at least give them a shot.
Yeah, the median income might be higher for tennis players like after college than some other sports.
Yeah,
I would agree. I think it just comes down to, at the end of the day, like what an institution values. And that's not a knock on Division I institutions, but whether you like it or hate it, the reality is a lot of D1 institutions would rather pay $100K to 5 different, student athletes. And I use this term student athletes very liberally, that are a football, hockey at a school like UND, basketball, than spend $500K to fund an entire program. But to your point, Chase, I think when it comes to the Division III model, there is such an emphasis still on the student athlete experience. Like, you've got the tennis player who also is, a 4.0 student who's also in student government. That story is very, very common. And so I don't see it going anywhere unless one of the MIAC schools is really, really in the hole, budget wise, but it's, I would side with you there.
They made it through COVID, so you'd hope at this point we're far enough away, unless that new virus or whatever screws us. Yeah, that gets to us. It'll be problems for everybody. It ain't just gonna be tennis.
Lex came home today from work. Lex is my wife, and she's like, "Did you hear about the new virus?" I'm like, "Don't even tell me. Like, if I don't believe if I consume no information about a virus, and just like anytime anyone says anything about a virus, I just like shut it out, I won't be affected." So for the record, that's what I'm doing. So don't tell me about this new thing, because I'm not going to.
I mean, that's pretty much what I would do when I was coaching at Concordia. That's what I would do when we'd lose matches. I just wouldn't think about it.
Yeah, it's all a mindset.
So,
Dave, I got a question for you, David. So I listened to your Dom Izzo. So there's this dude up in, I guess, rewind back before we just interviewed my dad, which was maybe like a week or two ago. And in preparation to that, David had sent me this thing about coaching. It was like Shanley High School was having some coaching issues with the AD. Some parents wanted him out. They're a private school in town. So the two, was it basketball coaches?
Yeah. Boys and
got fired. Anyways, so we chat with my dad, and in preparation to that, Dom Izzo, this radio guy, is talking about the state of the affairs for this thing. David sent me it. I listened. Fast forward another week and a half, David's on Dom Izzo, this radio dude, talking about tennis programs getting cut. So I want to hear what it was like going on the radio show, Dave.
Yeah, I love Dom. He's the face of the sports media circuit in Fargo-Moorhead. Guy's a lifer. And appreciate that he reached out. Funny enough, I don't check Twitter or X that much anymore. That may change if I start writing a little bit more again. But the reality is, Friday, the day that UND got cut, he messaged me on X being like, "Hey, like, do you want to come on the show?" And I didn't see it until the next Friday. And so I responded. It was like, "Shoot, like, just seeing this, like, yeah, definitely have some thoughts if you want to have me on. But also understand that some time has passed." And he was like, "No, like, let's talk about it." And anytime that you could talk about tennis with somebody who has a platform, I think it's cool. It's really cool when people acknowledge that people play tennis, and a lot of really good people play tennis, like just outstanding human beings. But I think too, it was interesting talking with him. He came at it from the angle of like, because if we're being honest here, tennis, a lot of people don't care about tennis. There were a lot of people in the sports world that looked at, a program getting cut and said, "Wow, that sucks," but they didn't lose sleep over it. One of Dom's points, though, was, what's going to happen with other non-revenue generating sports, maybe even a volleyball program or a college baseball program, because believe it or not, those sports lose money too. They're really expensive to fund. I do think, he had a really good point there, and it's just so interesting. I am worried about the state of college tennis. I would not be shocked if 15 years from now, it's more like similar to what lacrosse looks like in the NCAA, or I was going to say squash, maybe not that small, but like an East Coast thing with a few West Coast schools.
To me, it just seems like tennis is growing so much that,
which I know, I would agree. I think that more people are playing tennis than ever before, and I think that even though there's a big rivalry in the racket sports world between this and tennis, I think if somebody has never played a racket sport before and they pick this up, I think that their chances of one day playing tennis or picking up a tennis racket increase drastically. And so I think they complement each other. And I would agree. There's a lot of people playing tennis.
Yeah. It's just because like the NCAA is just such a business now at the D1 level that they're just all they can think about is money. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's probably just ROI. It's probably just they're looking at what's coming in and what it costs and just making business decisions. I feel like we're in a business world,
We are, and it's all tied together too. I'm not going to get political, but higher education is receiving less and less funding from the federal government, and so colleges have to make money.
Yeah.
Changing tune here a little bit. Chase, you just finished up your full first full season.
Wait, you had 2 seasons, right? You've had 2?
I started in January last year, so I had the spring season and then fall and spring this year. So
gotcha.
Basically, so you had 2 spring main seasons.
You were interim through half your first season.
Yeah, so interim was like January to end of May, kind of, and then permanent for about a year now at this point. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, you're good. But Chase, you've been doing this now long enough where you've probably gotten into a rhythm. There's probably things now that you wouldn't have thought about when you started. But I want to ask you, who are some people that you look at coaching wise that you want to model your program after? I know that you want to create your own unique experience, but who are some coaching mentors?
Yeah, so of course, like Tommy at Gustavus is going to be one. That's where I draw so much of that's where I was an assistant coach. That's where I played. So much of just what I know is from that. And, that even goes back to Steve Wilkinson. A lot of what Tommy does is from Coach Wilk there. So it's in a way, it's kind of him too. So just those two for sure. Another coach that he coached me more like my junior and senior year of high school. And then I'd go back and play in the summers with him. It's Kevin Whipple. And just a lot of his kind of philosophies. And I, still, reach out to him and stuff. And he gave me some drills before the season this year that were good for, some +1s or some way to value the shorter rallies. That's kind of a big deal in tennis. You got to win those. So he's just like really good tennis mind. And I always can learn stuff from him. So he's been big for that and someone I can always reach out to. And I think honestly, Coach Adam Strand from Luther is a pretty big one. Just we've played him both years, and I just remember him from playing and assistant coaching. He's just like a really good guy. I've always liked Luther, their program. I think the players handle themselves really well. And right now too, like I'm looking up at them. Played them twice, 0-2, against them for the men and women. So like it's kind of like they're always good, always solid, and that's kind of like a good benchmark on, hey, I know we're moving in the right spot. If we can get to a place where when we play Luther and Rochester, like we probably will continue to do, if we can beat them, that's a good kind of benchmark. But he always runs it. He's always such a nice guy and very open when I'm chatting with him to ask him questions and things like that. So he's kind of been a non-Gustavus one. That's kind of one. He's just been really nice to me, and just seems like a great guy running a good program and kind of getting good men and women to come out of the program.
Yep. Are you guys officially done with your season right now?
Yep.
Did you guys end up, because I think what is it in the MIAC? How many teams make playoffs for the MIAC?
Yeah, it's going to be 5 on the men's side and 6 on the women's side.
Okay.
Basically, our season, we last day you could have matches on Sunday, April 26th, I think, headed on up to Scholastica. Both teams, it was win and you're in, lose and you're done.
Really?
And the woman went first, lost a doubles point, and they had 4 courts at the facility up there. We were inside. But our girls took 1 through 4 singles to get a win there. Ended up being 4-3. But we got 1 through 4 to get up 4-1 and lower my stress levels for the final couple singles matches. So they got it done, which was super, super cool, super fun, for that. And then the men went out there, and just honestly, Scholastica really impressed me. We lost last year on the men's side to them, I think 5-4. And this year they just blitzed us. They were all playing really well. They were ready to play. Come warm-ups, I was like, oh, these guys are looking good, and it showed true in the match. So they played a really good match. We weren't too competitive in that one, so it ended in Duluth for the men, and then the woman. One got the 5 seed, went over to St. Kate's in the first round, and had a battle there. Lost 1-4. Got a win at 2 singles, which is cool. And the 2 matches that were left on was the 3 singles that just split sets right, a minute before the match got concluded, and then 1 singles was still going. And our girl was finding some patterns, I think, to hurt the girl. Was lost the first set, but was doing well in the second set. But that's how it ended for both teams. We got one of the teams kind of got the job done up in Duluth, and one ran into a team that was playing really well. So, I was happy we got 1 at least, and happy for the seniors on that team too, that they got to make the playoffs again. Our seniors were 1 and 2 singles and 1 doubles, so they deserve to make the playoffs at least and give them a chance to move on. And it was fun to get. I mean, that was first playoffs for me, so. We're not all making the playoffs in our first year, winning Coach of the Year awards like D Young's here. We can't.
I don't know if that's ever happened before.
Yeah, no, I also think basically a 100% winning percentage on Coach of the Year will be unmatched. So minimum 1 year, but nobody will top it, I think. So I'm 0 for 4, including men and women. So I'm not even close to your level. So.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed when you were naming off coaching mentors that someone as prestigious and seasoned as myself wasn't on that list. But I'm sure you were just didn't want to embarrass me.
No, I didn't want to gas you up too much I just did. I think we also never got the chance to compete against each other as coaches. So I think if we played you guys and you just took it to us, I would have been this D Young's guy is a really good coach. I just couldn't quite see it with my own eyes.
And that's too far away. Full transparency. That's why I left the gig. I was just so nervous to play against you. So we talk about always that your self-worth should not be defined by results on the tennis court. However, I was perfectly fine with my self-worth being defined by winning and losing versus Chase Johnson, and that's something that's a big deal. Decided to take the easy road out, but no, in all sincerity, great season on both sides. And to your point with Scholastica for the men, I mean, it seems like Wells, Patton, their head coach, always does a really nice job recruiting, always brings in a ringer or two. I think their number 1 freshman won Rookie of the Year. And so what does next year look like? And what does this period from now until day 1 this fall look like for you?
Yeah, a lot of this summer, I gotta get some social media stuff going. Gotta get some happy birthday posts, get that ready, and kind of for all the new incoming first years coming, got to get those kind of committed posts made and out there. So some of it is just social media, get some of those made ahead of time. Also kind of making a kind of like a handbook or, something for the players. Coming from Gustavus, I went into a program that like the culture. It had been like that for 40 years probably. And so it was just kind of like, oh, it is what it is. And as a coach, we didn't have to change much. It was just like, yeah, everyone knows what they're doing. Like you come in and everyone's doing what they're doing. So that's all you know. So you just kind of keep doing that. And given I'm kind of type being a little bit more laid back, I got to do a better job of like outlining, hey, these are the expectations. These are what I'm looking for. These are like things that you need to do to succeed here at Macalester, for tennis, like just outlining a lot of that stuff, I think is more of a weakness on my end. So there's going to be just that. So it's very clear what I want from everyone. And I mean, almost everyone's still was doing that, but, that's just something where it's like, all right, I'm more creating the culture. I'm more now like doing whatever I want the culture to be is kind of what I'm going to do. But making it super clear, because some of like last year, I was the third coach for the seniors. That's kind of weird for a player through 4 years to have three coaches, but just having this culture not set in stone necessarily. It's not like, Tommy taking over for Wilk at Gustavus, kind of keep the good thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like it did really well, and he can kind of just keep it going. And I think there's some stuff where it's like, I kind of want to, switch this a little bit and do some stuff differently. So I got to make stuff more clear. So it'll be a lot of that, getting kind of exactly my picture of culture, and what stuff looks like, moving forward down and ready to present to everyone kind of first day classes next year.
Well, I mean, that's great stuff. And I think too, Chase, back to recruiting. Recruiting student athletes to Macalester has to be such a beautiful double-edged sword in the sense that you could say, hey, you are truly going to get a world-class education at one of the top-ranked liberal arts institutions in the country, and you got to get people in the door. That's no disrespect to our alma mater, Concordia College. A little tougher to get into Macalester. How have you navigated that?
Way tougher.
It's I think like Isaac kind of mentioned, like tennis people, I think in general are pretty smart. They usually are a little bit more academic. So that's been helpful. There hasn't been a ton of people or a ton of recruits that I've connected with, and you get the transcript and you're like, shoot, no shot here. For the most part, especially if they reach out to me, they kind of already have looked into it and they probably know they have a chance. But at least at Macalester, we didn't do this at Gustavus. I didn't as the assistant coach. Tommy certainly could be doing this. I'm sure every school does a little bit of this, but we kind of get their transcripts, send it over to our admissions team, and they can kind of give it a look and say, hey, he or she looks good, or hey, probably not going to happen. And they can kind of give a like double thumbs up, like, let us know what we can do to help. This person looks like a stud. One thumbs up, kind of like, hey, they're looking pretty good. We'll see how their junior year, spring semester turns out, and we'll know a little bit more. But the admissions helps us out a little bit on that aspect, just to be like, hey, we looked at their kind of transcript and maybe SAT score and maybe something else, and can give you a little bit of a read on, hey, they look pretty good for admission. Because that's important for me to know. It's important for the recruit to know. Like if it's not going to work, like I gotta, like, for both of our sakes, let's find out right now instead of at the end of the road. You're say, hey coach, didn't get into Macalester. Like good talking with you, and we've chatted like 7 times. It's like, all right, we're wasting each other's time. But there's some, admissions helps us out to make sure they look like they'll be able to get in. But the early decision too, which I don't know how big that was at Concordia. Not too big, I think, at Gustavus. Like early decision can help some people get in if they're maybe on the fence or borderline. When you're making that commitment to Macalester that you're coming, if you get in, schools like that. So they'll let you in, and so that certainly can help a little bit. But that kind of admissions is very helpful. And I mean, they like the context on potential student athletes. Like they normally don't get much context besides an application. David, you probably can speak more on that with your admission side. But yeah, at Concordia, like what did you, we obviously had the dual role, so you kind of saw that a lot, but like, what's it like Concordia? Did you talk to any other coaches about student athletes potentially?
Yeah, I mean, you laid it out really well there. There was a lot of engagement between, when I had my admission hat on, engagement with, hockey, basketball, football coaches, saying, hey, this kid's a top recruit. This is where grades are at right now. Like, it's kind of like you said, what's their initial chance? And, Concordia, like we talked about, requirements aren't quite as high. And so there would be opportunities to say, hey, this kid looks borderline, but if he sent in a letter of recommendation or, we see grades really increase this next semester, or a personal statement, there's a lot more there. But I think both schools do a really good job. Just all, frankly, the MIAC schools, they try to look at you as a whole person. And so we always welcome those conversations from coaches, from conductors, from speech and debate folks. And so I'm sure Macalester is the same on that front.
Yeah. When I think once my players got comfortable last spring with me, I think it was my women's team where they're like, hey, would you have gotten into Macalester? Like, to me. And I'm like,
that's such a tennis team thing to say.
Yeah. I was like,
observant of being our coach.
Yeah. Like, it's like, I'm like, if I say like, no chance, are they thinking less of me? Like, I maybe don't listen to this guy as much. Like, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, for sure. Like, I think I would have been about borderline. Like, I think I'm like, if I was just a regular person, no tennis ability, no athletic ability, like would have been very close maybe. But now I know hey, if I'm talking to the coach and he would have been like, hey, this guy might be able to help the team a little bit. Maybe there could have been some help, or he could have been like, yeah, you got to go early decision, but like, we'll be able to help get you in that way. But I'm like, borderline for me. I don't know. I don't want to ever. I'm glad I won't ever know.
How hard would you push? So let's say you have just some elite, like 14 plus UTR, like something unheard of coming out of high school, and Buddy's rocking like a 17 ACT and like 2.9 GPA, but he's like destined for greatness on the tennis court. Would you push pretty hard for that, or you're like,
Certainly, yes. Yeah, I would push. The one thing as a coach, you kind of got to be like, to get them in is awesome, but they also they have to take the classes. Like, if they have a 2.9 or whatever, like they might not do well academically. Like that might be problems for you down the road when you're like, helping them out or like doing whatever, if it's a 13 plus whatever UTR, like, yeah, it's worth it, whatever. Like I haven't gotten that close where I'm like on the hands and knees for somebody to my AD, like, dude, whatever you can do to talk to admissions. But I certainly, like, you certainly can try and go to bat for some of those players. But at the end of the day, like, I don't think admissions, they want to help you. And there's one main kind of a guy in admissions who works with us coaches. But like, if they're not even close, like, I think they're still going to be like, nah, like it's Division III. Like, you got to be close, like within the realm of maybe close. Like, they can kind of be open. But I think, but maybe, I don't know, like Donnie, our athletic director, is very, very competitive. So if it was like, hey, Donnie, this guy's going to win a national championship, like that might be enough where he's like, all right, yeah. Sounds good. like we can let one person in here. Like, but I think that gets tricky. Like, it's like, all right, well, when baseball comes and asks me about somebody, like I think it can cause like a tricky situation there. If like tennis got this kid in, but like, I can't,
You need what was her name? Lori, whatever, that out in Hollywood, the Stanford scandal where they fake transcripts.
Oh, yeah. I need to just work with somebody to just like, like they send me their transcript. It looks like bad, I'm like, hey, go make a fake one and send it to
Yeah.
me, and then it will like I'll get you in here or something.
Wait,
Toss
what happened?
the
What
pro.
happened with Stanford?
There was essentially, this was probably 10 to like almost 15 years ago now, but Hollywood celebrity, a couple of them actually, they wanted their kids to get into Stanford as well as a couple other prestigious institutions. And they were paying admission offices under the table as well as submitting fake transcripts to get their kids in. And so it was not a great look. But as we were having that conversation, in my mind, I was like, why would a 14 plus UTR with a 2.9 and a 17 ACT be applying for Macalester and not going like the pro tour route? But then I thought, that's if they have a 2.9 and a 17 ACT, that's exactly something that they would do, something not smart. Psychology there. But you brought up your AD, Donnie Brooks. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he was named the NACTA AD of the year.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. It's which is cool. It was, I asked him too, I was like, you surprised? Like, did you even know you were nominated? And he was like, I maybe heard a couple whispers like a couple days leading up, I might have been nominated, but like, to win it, it's cool. It's like, I don't know if the other ADs that didn't win it, if they were posting nominated for NACTA, I think it's normally the winners that get the post. So it's cool. And I think David, earlier you asked about, hey, the whole Macalester athletic department and stuff. Like, I mean, we're getting way more competitive than I think back in our days. I think the men's tennis that we're more familiar with was always like, I played them in some conference in my like semis and stuff. Like they were always, definitely close to playoffs making it. And but the whole like everyone seems to be doing well. Like we're almost everyone's making playoffs. It seems like I think is way better than when we were in the day. But I think Donnie came in and was like, no, like I think he's just super competitive and he's very like resourceful and like wants to help out any way he can. So you have to give credit to the top guy there, who's why we're all doing better. And so it's cool to be a part of something that's like, all right, everyone's kind of like track and field next to me. They got somebody who like ran the second fastest, either 100 or 200 meter dash in like women's track and field Division III history. Like we got some like studs. We got the men's soccer team made the Sweet 16, I think. And the baseball is playing tomorrow, the Friday, the 15th of May, against the defending national champion in baseball. Like we got teams doing well. We're still trying to get, I think, some more regular season conference championships, but a couple playoffs is a good start. And it's cool. It's fun to be a part of things where you feel like they're growing.
Yeah. Well, you brought up baseball. Like when I saw that Macalester won the MIAC tournament or the MIAC playoffs, in my mind, I was like, oh, they must have snuck in like as like the bottom seed Cinderella story. No, they had the second best record in the conference for the entire season. So I was like, Macalester baseball, you think of Bethel, you think of St. John's, you think of Gustavus. That's cool. And that's got to be cool to be a part of.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see them. The coach has been there for a long time too. He got his 400th win earlier this year. So we kind of celebrated that. And it's just cool when they kind of came on fire and the kind of come the MIAC season. It's fun. It's just fun in the office to like, it's weird on this side to like know the coaches and like you're pulling for them as much as like the team. Like I don't know the players on the team, but it's like, oh, I want my colleague here. I want Matt Parrington to do well because I know him and I like him. And like you're pulling for the coaches a little bit more as a coach when you go. And but it's cool it's just cool. It's fun atmosphere around the athletic office when things are going well, and especially you get a little playoff run, and they're playing at CHS Field, which is fun for people to kind of go off campus, go to a nice stadium and see your team perform. I'm a big Minnesota fan. Had to witness the Wild season come to an end. I'm used to disappointment in the playoffs for teams. So it's when the men's soccer team and the baseball team like didn't disappoint, I'm like looking around like, okay, I can get used to this a little. Like, this is nice. I'm not used to this. Like, I don't know what this feels like, but so it's cool though when things are going well and you can just be there and support them, and it finishes well for them. It's much more satisfying feeling than I'm used to.
Yeah. David, you were saying, why would a 14 plus UTR go to Macalester to go play for Chase Johnson? Is the reason why?
Obviously, yeah. That's See that I'm probably that student. I'm like a 2.8 16 because I didn't think of that right. So I mean, obviously, yeah, elite coaching mind.
But I can just see the team asking you that question, like, do you think you could have got into Macalester? And you're like, Timmy did, dude. I can get it.
yeah. I'm like, well, I should have just pointed to somebody. Like, dude, give me some credit, guys. Come on.
I wonder if there's a formulation, whatnot, or a metric where you can move up the curve. Like, all right, you had one more UTR point and you can go even further down on the ACT score.
Yeah, that'd be awesome actually if like admissions had just like hey, this guy throws 90 miles per hour, yes. So his GPA can be 2.5.
Like this is it. Like this lineman, this is his 40 time. Like, he's got a 3.2. We'll let him in still.
Yeah, just like for each sport, that'd be awesome.
You just pull up the huddle highlights, and it's just that kid throwing. Dude, look at him. He's throwing 95.
Yeah, like he reached out to me first. I didn't even reach out to him. Like, dude, we got some serious interest here. Like that would be, if they're graded on a curve, like that'd be so. I mean, that's just not Macalester.
These are the conversations that will save college athletics.
Yeah. Sometimes, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. You'd hope that if the team is doing well, they won't cut you. But I know, like University of Minnesota, the men's team was still good and still got the axe, and North Dakota was solid and still got the axe. Bringing in great players doesn't save you fully, but
what students have now that they didn't have, at least when I was going to school, is Chat GPT or Grok. Like, imagine all of the reading, like some religious, because we would have at Concordia religion 300, religion 100, and you'd have to read some dense stuff, and it was like impossible to read. Imagine just summarize these pages of the book, and then you just read the summary. So easy. Like, maybe you don't have it write papers for you, because that could probably get you in trouble, but like, write the paper, make this sound like me, plug it through, make this sound like me more, plug it through like 20 times. I bet you could upload some of your previous documents. I feel like you could probably get away with that.
Yeah, especially now. I mean, David, for admissions, like, did you see any like essays react, dude? This is
so. That's a great question. We didn't require an essay at Concordia. We did at Gustavus. That was one of my favorite things about working at Gustavus, was that I loved reading those essays. Mm-hmm. However, sometimes we'd request if it was a borderline student, and it's tough when somebody has really poor grades. You've seen kind of the full picture, and then they bring in this paper that is like perfect grammar, like great, like just the point is articulated. Like, it's like, wow, this it's not adding up. And it's, hey, you know what? It's AI is a great tool for a lot of ways, not for college applications, kids. Don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, even high schoolers, I'm sure, are using it now, and like it. But honestly, like in today's world, like businesses use it. Like, it's kind of just like almost the better you know how to actually utilize it while still combining your own kind of thoughts. Like, like at this point, I think for education, you kind of have to like almost lean into it a little bit and say, hey, you can use AI for this, like make a different, more creative, like assignment that, I don't know, like they can still use some AI for, but they still have to use their brain somehow, like, or just make it so it's a little bit harder to have AI just do it. But like, but still, it's always going to be hard. I can't even imagine. Like, I don't even really want to think about like my players using that stuff or like cheating, because I'm like, I'll just stay out of that. Whatever. I'm just a tennis coach here. Like, that's not my job. But like, I can't even imagine being like a professor or something, and you're just like having to guess if it was ChatGPT or whatever, like making this essay or not. Like, I don't envy them.
They have, I mean, there's technology now that a lot of teachers use. My dad used it his last couple of years teaching, where like it will detect if it's AI or not. But similar to what we actually saw in the city of Fargo, they used AI to like police scanner stuff, and they identified the wrong person for a crime. The AI scanners can be incorrect, a little bit incorrect as well for papers. So it's definitely the Wild West. But I like how you said, like, you do have to lean into it a little bit because it's a part of everyday life. I mean, you mentioned businesses use it. Like today at work, I had to put together a workflow in like Microsoft that was like very intricate. Like I just asked Microsoft Copilot. I was like, this is what I want to do. What steps do I need to take? Save me probably 45 minutes.
Yeah. Like it should be, like, technology should be there to make our lives easier and better. And like, that's a perfect way to use it. But for school, for education,
right?
I don't even know. I don't even know what they're doing. Like anything and everything, they could just be hopping on whatever their favorite AI platform is and just doing stuff.
Right. And now, Isaac, why did you bring up AI?
I don't know. I was just wait. Are you hinting at what I said before?
Yes, that's I'm pitching for you.
Before this interview, David came early. I feel like David has never been early in the history of this entire podcast.
Big interview.
Yeah,
I was nervous, man. I had to type up some notes.
Yeah.
But I was like, yo, David, like, guess what I just did? And he's like, what? I'm like, well, I took our previous URL, YouTube, like, copied, pasted it, put it onto this like transcription thing where it like creates a transcription of the podcast, of the interview, and then I said summarize this, so I don't ask the same questions, so it just pumps out a bunch of stuff of like what we talked about. And then I was like, what question should I ask based off of what we talked about before? It was just and then I was like, read it to me, and it's like a robot just like reading it. But
that's a good way to use it, though.
Yeah.
I think that's totally fair game. Like, it's quicker. It'll give you a summary that's close enough. Like, it's helpful for sure.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to like listen to my voice back for an hour and 10. If I can do that and I did that all in the shower, by the way. Yeah, I was just like taking a quick shower. And I was like in the shower, like transcripting. The phone got a little bit wet, so like my thing's going up and down, like dry it.
There you go, a little behind the scenes.
You know what? Kind of like it as ChatGPT is like thinking or like popping stuff out, it like slowly scrolls up. So I'm literally just sitting there just watching all the information come up. But yeah, have you landed, like, I was gonna say, have you used AI at all for like recruiting? Like, hey, what player should I go after? Or I don't know how you would use it necessarily in recruiting, but yeah, how's the recruiting going?
Yeah, recruiting's going well. I think got a good kind of talented class. A lot of Macalester. Your kind of timeline's pushed up, where they want a lot of student athletes to have decided by November 1st, which is kind of the early decision deadline. So you kind of got to start. Like, I'm pretty deep into the class of 2027 recruiting class, and I think that's going well. That was I reached out to a ton of people, just classic. Got their emails from is it .com or .net? I
think it's net.
It is net. I feel like I always mess that up.
Yeah.
But just got a lot of emails from there, and like, a lot of guys or girls, it'd be a home run if they respond, and stuff like that. But it's like, well, I'm just gonna reach out. It's no harm, like, whatever. And got a good crop of recruits. I think already kind of did a little academic check-in, and so if I'm still talking to them, they made the first go around with a thumbs up. So it's going well. It's always nerve-wracking because you have full control over. I'm the GM and the coach. It's fun, but it's not, you can't blame anyone else if you don't get a team that's going to be competing for the playoffs and stuff like that. But I think it's going well. A good crop of players. I like talent-wise, I think is good. I think academically they're pretty top notch. And I think it's always if they do visit, you like asking the players how you think they'll fit in. What are your guys' thoughts on them? And a lot of like, oh yeah, they'd be great here. They'd be great. I think like, yeah, keep going for him, or yeah, she was awesome. Like super nice. Like go for her. So getting a good lot of those, which is always nice. Cause I mean, coaches can do the same thing, but like you can kind of put up a face in the recruiting thing and just like appear very nice. And then once you get into college, or once you get the recruit to you, then you can turn back into your normal self that maybe isn't quite what you've made it out to be in the recruiting process. But I think, David, you probably were the same. It's like, I'm just going to be myself and like be honest with you. Like if you don't want to choose me, like that's fine, but it's better for both of us if you kind of feel like you actually know who I am. And like if you're choosing me, you're making a good decision. And if you're not, it's like, all right, cool. Like it probably wasn't going to be a good fit if you came here anyways. Maybe it wasn't good for either of us. So, but it's been going well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's a great approach, Chase. And I think too, it's one thing that's great about our conference is that every coach wants to win. But it really does seem like, most of the coaches, if not all the coaches in the conference, truly have the best interests of the student athlete in mind. Like, yeah, you want to win. But if somebody's not going to be a good fit with the team, Macalester, like, is it worth it? Like, because, as you know, like you can have one bad apple, and I'm not saying this is the kid. I know that you've had great teams, and with great kids on them, or young adults, but like you could have a really good team talent wise, but if there's one bad apple, it can make it really difficult.
Yeah, and that's kind of like when I was an interim, and when I got the permanent position, to a lot of the coaches at Macalester, like they might be like really impactful players, but if you're like, this is going to be an issue, like culture wise, that you don't see the fit, just let them go. Like, just let them go. It's not worth it. Even if they are top tier kind of talent, it's like, it's hard, but you just kind of got to let them go. So I feel like I haven't fully maybe experienced that yet, but yeah, I'm sure it'll be very tough in the moment, but try and listen to the fellow coaches on like, hey, it's not worth it. We'll see if that happens, but yeah, it's tough.
Are you going to the Minnesota high school boys state tournament in, what is it, a couple weeks?
Yeah, sections are going on right now.
Yeah, I'll plan to go and just wear Macalester and just kind of make sure Macalester, the name is out there just so people are more aware. I don't think going for any specific person right now, but just going to check it out. And I'm sure I'll just chat with, I think I chatted with another, it may be Drew Fernelius from Bethel at the women's one in the fall or something. You can just, it's kind of nice sometimes to just chat with the coaches, because normally when you do that, it's like right before a match. And so it's just whatever, normal chit chat or whatever, but to get them not at the match, like, and just chatting normally, it's kind of nice to get to know some of the colleagues too. So I'm sure I'll see somebody there. But yeah, I'm planning to go a day or two for sure.
Sorry, David, another layer to my conspiracy theory of Arkansas State. So adding one more layer to this, Arkansas. Imagine you have a connection at Arkansas, not Arkansas State, sorry, but Arkansas. And you're like, dude, this guy's choosing in between UND and Macalester. I know UND's been teetering on this, potentially going to get cut. You guys cut your program. We know they're going to cut their program when they hear that a couple other schools cut. And then I'll get this dude. And then you got this guy who's going to UND, who's going to Macalester. So maybe you're the one who's been pulling all these strings.
Yeah, I'm slowly just like, yeah, whenever I talk to recruits, I go, what other schools are you talking to? And they list them. And then I start planting the any D1. I'm just like emailing the AD and saying, hey, it's an expensive sport. It's kind of a thing right now. Like, and just seeing, oh, I'm so sorry that, I just saw the news. Still happily will have you on the team, blah, blah, blah. That would be, the more conspiracy theories, the better. Keep add another layer. I love it.
Sorry, Dave, for cutting you off.
No, you're good. Yeah, I mean, you get no, I can't say that. Never mind. Chase, I do want to ask you. I'm a man of integrity most of the time. Am I a bad person? Because I'd like to go to the state tournament as well. I've actually never been to the Minnesota State high school boys tennis tournament. I'd love to go and watch a little bit. Hell, I'd even rep the Highland Cow on some, as just coordinator of team morale, volunteer position. Yeah. But Chase, am I a bad person if I still use my Minnesota State high school league? Am I a bad person if I still use my Minnesota State high school league free pass that I was given as a college coach that it hasn't expired yet? I'm no longer coaching, but I've got the pass.
I don't think so. They give you yes, you obtain the pass.
Well, I was
different. Yes, but it's your pass. It's not, you didn't have to hand that off to the current coach there. It's your pass. So I think
Young's on it.
No, I think you're fine. I think it's all good.
Thank you. I feel validated.
Yeah. There's an expiration date on it though.
Yes, it's in my car. I believe it is July of 26 because I think that's when or probably June. It probably goes through June because I think all high school sports are done by mid-June.
Yeah, I think still good.
Sure, dude.
For sure.
Yeah. Chase, what do you like most about your job? Softball question, but
it's I think it's just fun to work with the student athletes. It's cool to I feel like I very much love the aspect of getting better myself. And I think I really enjoy that aspect of seeing other people get better and work hard. And then, in tennis, it's usually hey, you start winning more or whatever, but it's just fun to see other people enjoy the sport as much as we all do, work hard, grind, get better, see themselves get better. It's very rewarding to feel I am improving my skills, and it is, paying off hopefully in matches. But just working with them, it's just, in general, it's a fun group to work with. It's a fun time of people's lives, but it's just fun. They have good energy, and they're pretty funny people and stuff like that. So it's just fun working with them. And this will be, last year when I only knew the seniors for 3-4 months. So it wasn't it wasn't I knew you so well for 4 years, it'll be super missed. But this year, now that it's been, a year and a half with them, I'm oh crap, I hate to lose the seniors, but I'm, curious to see what they're going to do after. But just to make the connections, I think it's really fun. And doing so through tennis is kind of the way you're connecting with them. And that's a very fun way to connect. But I just kind of working with them, it's really enjoyable, and to see them just get better. I haven't been around enough to really be oh, they grew up so much as a person. Their freshman year was super immature, and their senior year, they were getting all A's and were just competing super well. I haven't been here long enough for that, but I'm sure that'll come. But just seeing the growth in people is super fun through the tennis lens.
When you're recruiting, do you see similar schools that you're recruiting against? For Concordia, there's several schools. If I was an admissions person, I would probably realize hey, I would ask the student, like, what other schools are you looking at? And they say, St. John's, probably NDSU, if they're a local kid, Concordia, something like that. Do you see a lot of the people who you talk to, they're like, oh, I'm thinking Carleton, Macalester, St. Olaf?
Chicago.
Yeah, Carleton's the big one. But McAllister, like, it's not just Gustavus. Even was a lot of Minnesota kids or whatever. Like, you guys are kind of Minnesota, Dakotas, like a lot of local stuff. But McAllister, like, it's East Coast, West Coast, Texas, Florida. Like, you kind of get people from all over, so it can be very different. But a lot of times, it's like, all right, if I'm gonna make the trip to Minnesota, they know of Macalester, and they probably know of Carleton first, to be honest. But like, they're like, all right, cool, we'll go visit Carleton one day and Macalester the other day, and then they'll go back home or go wherever else they're going. So it's a little. There hasn't been anything else besides Carleton that's too consistent. Just because it's like, oh well, this person's from California, and they're actually kind of looking at West Coast too, and like, oh, they're looking at Whitman or something in another school, and the East Coasters are looking at more East Coast schools like a Vassar or something. So it's there hasn't been too much of a pattern yet, but I think with hopefully, I mean, it would be helpful to kind of figure one out, where it's like, all right, these are kind of the schools where gotta like maybe try and differentiate in the recruiting process, just with a couple sentences here and there to be, hey, this is why we stick out and why we're different than a couple of these other schools. Even if you don't know if they're looking at them yet, there might be a chance that they're looking at one of them. But mainly Carleton is the one, and that a lot of that's just like they're close to us, so people just fly in from out east and visit both of us, and then go home or whatever.
Yeah, Dave, I don't have any other questions besides like my wrapping it up. Do you have any other questions?
I just want to ask you with Carleton as your, you guys, I won't say play second fiddle, but Carleton definitely maybe has a little more name recognition. On the tennis side of things, obviously got a great program. Are you going to copy Coach Stefan Zweifel's look, wearing jeans in hopes of getting to their level soon?
If I knew that was like his secret sauce and I knew that would help, like, I'll do that. Like, I'll basically do whatever it would take to help out the team get better. If that motivates them, sure, I'll do it. But I think he's such a cool, unique guy that, like, he looks good in those jeans. I don't think I would look good. I can't pull it off like he can. So he's got his own thing going, and he's had a really good thing going for a while. And his quotes are pretty, like, you gotta read those in the article or whatever. They're always something unique. It's not robotic at all. I don't think he chat GPTs those for quotes. He says them. That's straight from him, which is awesome. But
it was so funny, like, just as a player, but then working at Gustavus and somebody who just monitors MIAC tennis quite a bit, like reading in a Gustavus article where you've got Tommy Valentini, extremely like well-versed, like walking PR machine in the best way possible. Like, great way to represent your program. And he says all the right things. And then you go to Zweifel and it's, metaphors to animals, weather, current events, but he does a great job representing that program as well. I do want to ask you brought up attire. We both were talking about it. Do you coach in tennis shoes or in basketball shoes? Because that seems to be, I've got a very strong opinion that you shouldn't wear like playing equipment or gear when coaching. That's just me. Where do you sit on that one?
Yeah, I don't really wear actual tennis shoes. I just think for like walking around, they don't like feel that good. They're not that comfortable. So I don't wear them. I usually have some Allbirds kind of that I wear. So normal, just normal walking around shoes. Those are just way more comfortable. So yeah, as a coach, I'm not like running around, or even if I have to hop in for a warm up, like I'm fine for 5 minutes on those things. So I do not wear tennis shoes. I did not know you were that strict with it though.
Yeah. I mean, frankly, you're the reason that I got last year I wore Ja Morant shoes. Because I knew when you coached at Gustavus, you wore those purple Kobe's, correct?
Yeah, I actually at Gustavus I did wear
Yeah, you were basketball.
Um,
Yeah. And I
they were
remember
not.
like,
No, they were purple. They were tennis shoes. They were just like that was the only color
oh,
they had left. It was not.
oh
It
no.
was not basketball.
I
It
thought
was
I
no.
thought they were basketball shoes. So I was like, all right, if Chase is doing it, like that's cool.
No, dude.
And
That
then I
I
bought
think some
basketball
basketball shoes
shoes.
would be sweet. Like if you kind of came decked out, like I feel
Yeah.
like that would be like just like to have some swagger.
I,
But like,
well, dang it. I guess maybe I was a trendsetter, maybe not then. But I will say I think that coaching in the old Agassi Air Challenge 2s that are becoming cool again. If you guys know what I'm talking about, they look like sneakers. They're sick. Those are
yeah.
good company shoes.
I'll have to look into that because I got to keep my players on their toes a little bit with what I'm rocking. Not enough to distract them, for the match, but just enough for. And I'm young enough. I can be the cool coach a little bit. They still think 29 is like crazy old. But I'm like, guys, I'm not like I know what Snapchat is. Like I know what these things are. Like I'm not that old here, but they think I'm crazy old. It's just funny, but I can play into it a little bit. But I kind of want to stay cool and stay young if I can at some certain areas.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. To finish up, do you have any specific shout outs that you would like to give out there?
That's a good question. Shout out to at least my assistant coach, Joanna Brower. She stepped in. She was new this year, fresh out of St. Cloud State. And she did a really awesome job. It was fun to have her. She was around a lot. And I think it was really good for the team to have her around. And she kind of kept getting better and better as the year went on, and she got more comfortable coaching. I feel like I've never been asked. I feel like there's a lot of people. This feels like I won an Emmy and I'm going up. I'd like to think blah blah blah. But
You're gonna shout out God because
I feel like I can't do him second now, so I feel like I gotta just skip it. Like at this point, if it's not first, like he knows at this point. But no, but just all the other two, the coaches that David you asked, the Tommy, Kevin Whipple. Coach Strander and any other coaches, Coach D Youngs, like anyone else that I've looked up to, and helped me get here. I mean, I should say too, if people, were tuned into the last time I was on, but David's almost a big reason why I got the job in the first place. Like you made me aware that it was open, and I'm assuming put in maybe a decent enough word that I at least got kind of an interview. So, good enough. It wasn't perfect, I'm sure, but good enough word.
I'd give it like if the word that I put in was a UTR, I'd give it like a 6.5 maybe.
Okay. Is this?
No, I give you a 14.
Okay. I was like, well, are we talking men or women? Because 6.5, I'll take that for my women's team for sure. But
I was speaking men. But
yeah. Okay.
You're an easy person to recommend. It's pretty easy to give a recommendation in the professional world or the sports world, whatever it is, when you're doing it for somebody that's talented and just a good person.
Yeah, thanks. And last shout out to you guys. It's fun hopping on here, talking about whatever. And you guys, it's cool to follow along and see all the stuff you're doing. Isaac, I know you post a lot of like highlights and stuff. I know you had a battle with Gage a while ago that we can help you train and help you get a W, I think, next time for everyone on Instagram. But you guys do a lot of stuff. It's cool for me as a tennis fan just to see what you guys do. So awesome job.
What was the score of that match?
It was 7-5. I won the first set, then 1-6 in the second set, then 5-10 in the breaker.
That's a great match. That's a national champion right there. So
it was a really good match. He was on his like some break that he hadn't played in maybe a month or something like that. But to defend myself,
you're old.
I need to lose a little bit of weight. I'm getting a little bit fat right now. Like I was going, so Lex, because it was my birthday yesterday, actually. It's May 14th right now.
I didn't wish you happy birthday.
No worries. Yeah, not that big of a deal. But anyways, Lex made these cupcakes for my birthday, And she's like, yeah, like I made them, but they're like 500 calories each. So, but they're gas. So I'm just like, I was, I demolished one before our dinner, and then I was like halfway through the other one. She's like, dude, you're so fat. So, yeah. Anyways, I feel like my chances of beating Gage in 2 out of 3 sets is 0. But in one set right now, maybe like 20% or 10%. I don't know. I'll give my chance on that. But
just play him like as soon the first day he's back in like Sioux Falls. Like he just gets done. Maybe he wins another national championship, so he plays a lot of matches. And he's always been a little injured or something. So it's just be like, hey, we're playing. I'm here. Like, let's play. Like, I got a court. Just come on out. Like, and just he's like super tired, and maybe I'll even things out.
Yeah, show up unexpectedly in Sioux Falls, like at his front door.
Yeah.
I'll pay someone to go to his house and like knock on the roof and stuff in the middle of the night so he doesn't get any sleep.
Yeah.
You just show up to the court. It's like, how'd you sleep?
Have somebody like ram him on the way over there, so he's like rattled. Like do a hit and run or something. like maybe D Youngs, that can be your job or something.
No, I'll just I don't know. I'll cut his strings. So that's the farthest I'll go. But I'll fray his strings. So that way he doesn't know that they're almost broken.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
All right, we got a plan. Let's go.
I'll see you guys potentially at the state tournament. I would say I'm like 50-50 in going because I want to record some of those matches potentially.
Nice. Yeah.
I've been. Huh?
Do you have to ask him?
I don't know. I feel like I would just go and do it, and then if I
get in trouble.
No. Well, you think you have to ask when you're going to a public state tournament that you'd? I mean, the kids are under 18, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that just like given that it's like under a sanctioned body, given like the high school league, like they probably have some bylaw where it's like media rights that like for hockey, for example, My 45 and KSTP, I believe, own the rights to broadcast the state tournament. And so I don't know what that looks like for tennis, but like, dude, especially like, some of the matches that are played like outside, like, dude, nobody's going to like care.
Well, like, you think, have you ever seen the Dusty Boyer highlight?
Yeah.
It's like
times.
It's like Dusty Boyer in the like 2000, I don't even know what state tournament. And it's like mostly like 90% of the highlight reel is like him winning a point. I think there's a couple that he doesn't, but it's just Dusty looking absolutely sick at tennis.
Yeah,
like literally it's treeing and it's just like a montage of him, but like there's no way that whoever recorded that got, requested.
Right. Dude, that video has been viewed so many times, I feel like.
Yeah.
While it was and Dusty must have been a sophomore, I think.
Yeah. Look, you got to look it up after this. It's absolutely
if I just Google it, I'll find it, right? Like it's got enough views, kind of. Okay.
Hey, we're not recording anymore for the pod, are we?
Yeah, we are. Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
What? Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Okay, I was gonna say something, but this has to be.
Yeah, just wait. All right, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Chase, for coming. We will end it there.